Hey, so my name is Brian Hedden. I'm the founder of Stump, and I'm just wanted to tell you a little bit about what Stump is because it's a new kind of social media site that's really geared towards citizen engagement and voter empowerment. So a lot of these words, like what do they all mean and how does it all work? And I'll just give you a little backstory about why I created Stump and what it's all about. So my background is in activism and filmmaking, and so I recently completed a documentary that I worked on for about 6 years. And through that experience, I really saw kind of how the powers that be operate and what powers citizens do and don't have in terms of trying to change the laws, and how much corporations and politicians really control everything. I've been thinking about this for a long time, and my passion is really around democracy and just like people power and balancing authority versus democracy, and it's always, I mean, that's just the theme of our times, right? It's like how much power do we give corporations and elected officials versus how much power do the people have to have autonomy and to create a better world. And it's a complex power dynamic, but basically we have a democracy still, and we elect our leaders, right? And so that is like the leverage of accountability for our government, is that when we are happy with our leaders, we re-elect them, and when we are unhappy with our leaders, we replace them. But that cycle of feedback is very antiquated and subject to a lot of corruption, in the sense that corporations pour massive amounts of money into elections by giving it through PACs and super PACs and these funds that are like dark, what do they call that? Like dark money, where you can't trace, it's not transparent, you can't see who's exactly donating where, but that money gets funneled to politicians. Politicians have to spend a ton of time fundraising so that they can buy advertising and materials, marketing materials, and support their campaigns. Just this past election in 2024, Kamala Harris' campaign spent over $1 billion. And so it's like a huge money pit. And that really disenfranchises people that don't have a ton of money to influence their politicians. But the people should have a voice, and especially when it comes to passing legislation. So getting elected is kind of one aspect, and then lobbying for better legislations, better laws. So corporations hire incredibly powerful, smart, and hardworking lobbyists to go and lobby and influence elected officials. Meanwhile, regular citizens or activists, they, might call the representatives or they might protest with a sign, but like the power differential is too great. There's too much power in the hands of corporations because they can just get their way. And this has been proven over and over again. I think there was a 2014 study out of Princeton University that showed that it doesn't really matter what people think, regular citizens, how much they want or don't want a law. What really matters is how much wealthy, like the super wealthy, want a law to pass. And that really, that's called the Oligarchy study out of Princeton University. So anyway, it's kind of common knowledge, right? Like we all know that politics is corrupt and that like money influences power, obviously. But what can we do about that, right? That's the idea behind Stump. It's like we have the internet and we have elections, and we should really be able to cooperate and collectively hold our elected officials accountable. And so essentially, the point of Stump, and this is kind of a trend in civic technology in general, is that when it comes time to vote, where can I see what my elected officials have done or what's their public record? There's not really a good site for that. We have like Ballotpedia, we have Wikipedia, they have their own social media sites, and that's a lot of marketing. And Ballotpedia is really good, but it's not very user friendly, it's not well designed, and it's not a social kind of thing. And then there's a lot of apps popping up that are like, oh, use this for learning about your ballot. But how do we know that we can trust them? And how do you know you can trust Stump? Well, let me explain. Stump, I mean, that's why I'm making this video, is to be really transparent. And the idea behind Stump is that we want to provide the most kind of transparent and democratic information on our ballot app. And not just like their bio from their website or whatever. We want to like aggregate public opinion during the session so that when it comes time for elections, it's like what people actually think about this candidate or this incumbent during the election. So we have a year-round app that is for advocating for what you want, whether it's a bill or a petition or a letter. It's basically like an app for ongoing civic engagement during the year. And we will aggregate that information so that when it comes time to elect or re-elect or replace an elected official, you'll have like information that's actually a reflection of public opinion. Now, hopefully, I mean, we really want to be nonpartisan so that information is really a sense of the holistic nature. We don't want this to just be a leftist app or right app. We want it to be reflective of the constituents and actual democracy. So we'll see how that goes. That is the hope. But obviously, the app bias is towards people who are active and activists and people who want to change the status quo. If you're happy with the status quo, you don't really need to be an activist, or you don't really need to advocate for change. So that's kind of the inherent bias of an app that is for advocacy or for activism, is that it wants things to change. So yeah, we're going to keep an eye on that bias, and we want to keep a really transparent line of communication with the people who are using the app, because democracy is fluid and evolving and needs to be dynamic. So I'm going to be posting a lot more videos here. I would love for this to be more of a dialogue, because it's hard to just talk into the void of a camera. But that's a little bit about why I made Stump. And then I guess the question, right, how do you know you can trust Stump? And we want to be really transparent. We want to be very open with our communication, and whatever we can do to both be like transparent but also secure. There's that trade-off between like what's a secret for security reasons, and then what is how transparent can we be. And so please join in the discussion, leave a comment, leave a question. I would love to respond to your questions and your interests. And if you have other ideas about the ways that democracy could be better supported by a technology company such as Stump, let me know. And let's evolve this thing together, because we have the internet, and so that provides a lot of opportunity. And we just haven't developed that technology. We just haven't developed like a social media type platform that could be actually beneficial and healthy for democracy. So let's do that. It's about time. So thanks for watching. Leave me a comment or a question below, and I look forward to continuing this conversation with you. Take care.